Let's do something. Allow your feet to touch. Bring your head top up to the highest point. Relax your shoulders. Relax your tailbone. Bring your hands together in the center. Take a deep breath. And then relax. Feel your feet on the ground. Push your head top up. And then breathing, make a stretch. So reaching all the way up. And then keeping your arms pulled all the way out to the extents. And then all the way down to the base of the circle. So breathing. Go at your own pace, time it with the breathing. Make it a stretch the entire time. Keep power as if you can shoot laser beams out from the end of your fingertips. So you're keeping power to the end of the fingers the whole time. Even if they're here, there's power, and then reaching all the way up. So feel as if you can stretch your back vertically, and then when you reach out to the side, feel in this area and then in the back as well, extending, expanding. So even though it's stretched, we want it to be relaxed. So feel as if you can do the same movement, the same exercise. And when you reach out to the sides, just reach directly to the side, not back, not forward. So make it a stretch. Two more from wherever you're at whatever speed that you're going. Reach the extents of the circle all the way around. Go at your own pace. When you reach the end, bring your feet together. And then breathing, bring your hands together to the center. So that's sort of a slow warm-up. Let's do a slightly different, a fast warm-up. I'm going to face this direction. Don't let your knees go in front of the toes for this one, which means we're sitting the tailbone back. If you see my leg from my knee to my ankle is straight. And then sitting back as if you're lifting something. Use your legs, practicing. We're lifting the base of the torso, inhaling up to between the sternum and the face, turning the palms, and then pressing the palms all the way up, and then exhale. So inhaling, lifting, grip your feet, relax your center, turn the palms, still inhaling, inflating, and then exhale. We can break the upper part, the lifting into two parts. But for now, try it as if you're inflating. Go at your own pace, but have the feeling that you can lift something very heavy. Imagine the way something inflatable can support something much heavier. If you think of, when you think of an air mattress supporting the weight of a person, or if you think of a balloon that has a book on top of it, a balloon, the material for the balloon is a few ounces, and it can support a book, or an air mattress the same. It's a very thin membrane but supports something heavy on top. So the same way, imagine that you can inflate yourself with pressure up underneath the moon, and then let all of that pressure out. Keep your root, your structure, and then getting underneath it, inflating, grip the ground. Breathing. Go at your own pace. And on one of them, when you reach the top, just relax. Let's do another from that same school, another exercise. I don't know if either of you have seen this one in the past. For people watching at home, anybody that has, I know we've done it in Malibu. So if you, sort of similar to what we started with, if you turn your palms forward, as if they're facing forward, and then leading the hands, just actually, you know what, guys, watch this one first, because there's something that we need to practice while it's happening, and I want to describe it so that we're not wasting this one. We only want to do it a limited number of times, so I don't want to waste any of the effort. So as if the feeling of the fingertips is pulling all the way through the arc of this movement. So I want to feel like my arm is going in this direction all the way to the top. And then from the top here, my hands the same, just like they're flat, as if they're on a track here. And then turning the palms out. And then the same thing, as if they're being drawn to the sides and back down. So here, try to keep your back straight, stretch your fingertips all the way to the top. I stepped away from the camera so you can see, and then turning out to the sides. So breathing, inhale up. Feel the stretch all the way, and then exhaling out to the sides. So lifting the palm all the way up, and then exhale out and down. We'll do 3 more. You can go at your own pace if you want to go slower. Feel the pull as if your fingertips are being drawn in the direction of the circle, and then on the exhale. The name of this one, by the way, is called Giant Rock Spreads Its Wings. And there was an actual bird named Rock, in English R-O-C. And there's also a mythological one in Asian cultures, not just Chinese, the rock. The palm bird existed in other. And on this one, you should feel quite a stretch in your body. It should generate, if you weren't already warm, this should generate some heat. So I only recommend to do, my teacher, the person that taught me that, said 5 to 8 of them at a time. So this type of exercise, Giant Rock Spreads Its Wings. Let's do another one, just because it's Sunday, And we need to pace ourselves. I don't know that we're going to have a full hour class. If you gauge the space, whether it's a good time to relax and take things easy. So we're going to do some Qigong. So breathing, same thing, allow your feet to touch the same way that we do the Tai Chi, as if we're standing in this one. And we're going to do bringing the palms up and then opening to the sides, back to the center, and down. And then flip the hands. So I'm turning 45, up, out, together, back. As if the wrists are on a track and the hands are overlapping on that track. So breathing deep, inhale, open. And again, you can slow down, you can time it with your breathing. This one, the arm's staying relatively straight comparatively. So we don't have, it's not a bend here. This is as if they're on a half circle, quarter circle track up, and then a half circle, or I guess it's actually 1/4 of a circle open. And then the hands, when they're coming back, they're flat. The overlap doesn't open them this way until here. And this is the same thing, as if this wrist is on a circular track. It's just going back this way. So up, out, in, down, up, out, and then squashing this together, down, breathing. Let's practice something to understand how the shoulders work. One of the exercises that we used to practice is a variation of swing hands like this, turning as if your hands are on a circle and they're just turning this way. We can turn this into the extreme. If you've seen the Pigwa exercise where we're hitting the backs of the hands together, shifting the structure forward to enhance the stretch this way, right? This kind of Pigwa exercise. But instead of just doing that, almost just turning. And one of the things that my teacher used to say, TC used to talk about with the shoulders, is the shoulders work like a parenthesis, not like a bracket. So the movement in the shoulders, he would say, is turning in a half circle this way. So when this circle here, this is the normal movement. We don't want to have this type of, even this, incorrect, right? This kind of, maybe for the Nordic track, but here we want to have this shoulder is meant to actually turn a little bit. Doesn't go on a straight line this way. It can if we're doing the Pigwa and we open all the way as such. But in general, day to day, it's too rigid. So we have to remember the organic, rounded nature of the shoulders, right? And so the extended version of this one is allow the backs of your hands to touch. In fact, without having to get into that much of a stretch on a Sunday evening, if you take your palm and put it out and then just smack the back of the hand that way. And then change from the other side. And then this wedge in Chinese martial arts, this shape right here is called hukou, which is the tiger's mouth. So if you practice Bagua, they talk about this shape being hukou. Even in Tai Chi, when we have a press, this is still present, hukou. So take the space, if you had a shape, a geometric shape between your finger, in that triangle, take all of that space right now and just work the whole area. Hukou. Breathing. And then while you're doing that, see if you can practice Tai Chi ideas. Extend the head top. Keep the chin tucked. Relax your shoulders. Breathing deep. Switching. Press on the other side. Which side was worse? Did you go to the worst side first or second? Or are they about the same? Okay, next, shake out your hands, relax your fingertips, relax your forearms and the elbows, biceps all the way up to the shoulders. And then take your fingertips and working from the center line outwards and down, forwards to back, massage your head top. So feel where the skin is tight. If you know any of the points on the head top, or if you know what the 8-point crown on the top is, you can work that area. Any place that you feel divots where there's little holes, there's little spaces. The basic idea for acupuncture and Qigong is that the Qi can occupy the empty space. So your skull, if you feel it through your skin, has lots of divots on it. It feels bumpier than a golf ball. And some of those divots are bigger than others. And you'll feel in the base of the divot, the base of the small indentation, concave, convex, it's concave, indentation. At the base of those, in the bottom of the valley, is where it feels painful. And actually, that's usually an indication of an acupuncture spot. Usually, they reside in if you keep working. It feels good. Take the time to do it. So, and then breathing. And then just relax for a second. So basically, where there's the divot, the concave spot, where you press into that, that's where it's sore. And that's also a place where usually the acupressure point is. So just like the palm, when we have the palm this way, at the very center, at the bottom of the valley of this space is Laogong, right? That's where the point is. So the same thing, whether it's on the leg, whether it's on the arm, the hand, in the face, at the bottom point of the valley, usually there's an acupressure point there. Let's go back to working the head, but this time we're going to use the bottom of the palm. And I just want you to do the sides right around the temple, and then rolling backwards. So are they clockwise, are they counterclockwise? Like you're pressing everything out and down the back of the head and neck. And then relax. So next, take one hand, tapping down one side, tap down the other side, flip the palm, tapping down this side, flip the palm, tapping down the other side. How does this one go? It's down, down this one, down this one. Did we talk about using for the arms this knuckle, the outside pinky knuckle this way? Let's actually do some more. The teacher that showed me monk searching for the moon in the sea, and then this other one, giant rock, spreads its wing, also teaches two other standing Qigongs. So the first one, and what we want to do is work on feeling the heart meridian. The first one is very standard, like holding the tree, right? Holding the ball. And so the energy for this one, we want to feel that goes along the middle finger through lao bone. And right where you would expect, right along the inseam of the arm, splits the bicep and the bone and comes into the center. This is pericardium channel. And the pericardium channel is this, the pericardium is sort of this, like a sac or a bag that surrounds the heart. And that channel is mirrored on both sides. So in this one, he named these, the name for this exercise was Kan and Li, which in the Chinese, the Mandarin means water and fire. So while we're holding this, while you're holding this shape, in your mind, have the imagination that you're holding a barrel or a bowl or some type of container filled with water. And that water is pressing, if you understand the shape of a barrel, it has caps at the end and then it has a cap at the center and it's slightly wider at the center. And that's where the most pressure on the barrel is. That's why they put rings there. So imagine that ring going from, there's a small space between your fingers, anywhere between a centimeter and a few inches, depending on how you like to space it. But then the energetic ring goes through the palm, and it goes through pericardium, and it comes out the other side. Straighten the neck, relax the tailbone as if you're sitting, like you're sitting on the edge of the bench. And feel as if the water wants to expand along that ring. If you relax your shoulders, from the inside of your arms, you'll feel pressure. You feel a circle on the inside here, as if that negative space is expanding. And so this is filling the negative space with chi. And you should feel it if you're breathing. You can be relaxed to constrain the water, to keep it in place. You feel it. You feel something, right? Some pressure. So now, keeping the fingertips, these middle fingertips in place, as if they're locked. There's a space between them, but as if they're tied, as if they're connected. I want you to turn your pinkies all the way up and turn the thumbs facing forward. And so now we have the same circle. You see, I'm keeping, if I show this, I'm keeping this round, so I'm pressing this outward. And so Kan and Li, water, and this one is fire, and this one is focused on the heart meridian, which, while you hold this, the heart meridian starts at the outside of the pinky here, and it runs right up along the outside edge of the hand and splits the arm in half all the way up to the back and through the center, and then the same on the other side. So it comes out as if there's a seam right along the middle and right along the middle of the forearm, splitting this way and ending at the pinky on the other side. So this one is a fire. So feel as if on the inside it's cool, and on the outside of your arms you already feel it, it's warm, right? If you relax your shoulders even more and push your head top up and press outwards, you feel the warmth all along the outside of that perimeter of your arm. So now, instead of holding a container of water, like you're keeping the fire out, like you're keeping the fire at bay, and so with your palms rounded and your fingertips splayed and rounded as well, let your elbows relax so that they're sinking. Push your head top up, relax your shoulders. You can allow that heat to actually expand the ring, right? So the same thing, we want to try to have these fingers pointing towards each other as if they're energetically connected, even if they're not physically connected, breathing deep. And then let everything relax, come back to the center. So these two meridians connected, right? One is the pericardium. This is, we see, very powerful, especially in Qigong martial arts, something we're using this point. In science fiction and comic books, there's always a Iron Man, Spider-Man, something has a point here, can shoot some lasers, something like this. And then the heart chakra also here connected to the outside of the pinkies. In fact, the same thing we did with Huko, this triangle in here, massaging this material. Do the same thing with the outside, from the outside of your pinky down to the base of your hand. I refer to this flat area as if you set it on something as the knife edge of the hand, right? Because in martial arts, we use it for like the old style 70s karate chop, right? So the area that would chop, right? Press all of those all the way along to the edge of the pinky finger. And where you feel, if you feel areas that feel more tight, you may feel different sensations. Make note of what those are. And after you've done that side a little bit, try the other side. You'll also notice, is one side better, worse than the other? Okay, cool. We'll call that our warm-up. We should probably stretch a little bit. Let's actually do that. Push one foot forward. Sit the tailbone back and away. Please protect yourself. Don't fall down. Don't lose your balance. Breathing deep. Grip the standing foot. And then tapping on the back of the leg. Whatever amount of effort you think you're giving, only give 50% of that. Just relax. This should be a light workout. You should stagger your workouts. It's something that's been changed. Step forward, breathe deep. It's an unsaid feature of Master Yoon's classes. If you notice, he'll have one class that's extremely difficult and the next one will be very relaxed. So in this one, it's a Sunday evening. The space weather dictates the speed and tempo. So relax, do about half of the work, and get all of the benefit. Breathe deep. Stretch a little bit more by relaxing a little bit more. And then push forward. Before we continue, does anyone have thoughts, questions, comments? Something that you'd like to work on from the Tai Chi form? Yes, go ahead.
So, after you do the 4 corners, how do you come out of it? There is some, I don't know, like a pirouette or something, whatever.
Yeah, okay. Let's actually review that. This one has an interesting, the movement that happens right after 4 corners is the way that my teacher taught it is lost to time and potentially another teacher. I have modified this because he also taught me another short form. It's 14 posture form. It's for the martial art, right? It's for it's a 2-person form. And there's only 14 postures. And in that one, after the last, there's a J Lady movement. There's one where you can actually jump to catch somebody in the air. And he said, it's in this form. And I like adding that in the 3rd form, and he told me that was actually okay. And so I have renamed it Grasp the Sparrow's Tail, which is kind of a misnomer. It's not really that, but it makes the most sense for beginners. Remember, we sort of teach at multiple levels. In the beginning, it's pull with one side, kick with another side. Then later that becomes a longer, more complex, requiring more precision. So let's look at that. Let's actually look at just the last 2 corners. So if we've assumed that we've started the form facing north, 4 corners comes out of the hook and whip, and the first corner facing northeast. And then remember, try to keep your center line straight the whole time. Looking to the corner, we're going to turn, open, step, press. So the second corner is facing the northwest. The 3rd corner facing southwest. Step, press, and then the 4th corner southeast. So looking first, keep the spine straight, turn one foot, step back, turn the foot, press to the corner. So the next movement When I'm doing, there's power coming to your center, and your hands are this way. So if I turn my square so that you can see what my idea is, if I'm facing this way, I've just done the fourth corner here, and there's power coming from the direction of the camera. I'm using my hand like a coil, just like when we do Sherfei, and we use the hand this way to coil. Or in the first part of the first form, we have grasp the sparrow's tail as this catch. So the same thing, if it's here, there's power coming anywhere from the camera or from the side. And I want to make this cone with my wrist by turning my whole center to catch. And once the coil has made it on top of the incoming object, whether it's a stick or whether it's somebody's arm, when I'm stepping this way, when the weight change happens, when I step, I'm stepping and applying the weight at the same time, and then letting that go, whatever that object was, and moving straight forward along the axis in the square to press forward. And the rest of the movement is the regular 8 sort of postures. Now, here's the part that I like to add on my own, is I like to put in a jump, because we assume in the martial arts that our opponent will be a larger opponent attacking us. And so if somebody is reaching, that's probably going to be coming from not only this direction, but from a higher vantage. So after I coil, I may have to jump to press to get into the other press. So let's do 4 corners. If we have hook and whip, and I turn first to the north, east, and press, and then looking, turning, coiling again, step, northwest, scoop, turning 90 degrees to the southwest, press, turn. And now I'm facing southeast. My square should go towards the corner this way. Power is coming in somewhere to my center here. I'm going to make my left hand coil. When it gets on top, turn, press. And keeping this circular shape, stepping forward, regular press, regular push, look left, glance right, double press. This is thank you for noticing. This is this is actually it's a one-off movement. And so it's interesting. I'll look up how TC used to teach it. I have been doing this pretty much since after he taught me the Sansu, the 2-person form, because there's another author, Tai Chi author. His name is Yang. I think it's Dr. Yang, and he wrote a book called The Art of Nurturing and the Science of Power, or something like that. And he also modified his teacher's form and put a jump in it was a Chen form, something like this. So, right, let's continue. So from the third corner, let me change directions. If I'm facing this way, when I turn, and I'm here, this hand is scooping, I press, I step, I push. So if I'm here, let's say I'm doing my third corner this way, I'm going to turn towards the camera. When I turn to open, turn, scoop, press, and then from here, grasp the sparrow's tail, step, press, press. And so what's happening on this grasp the sparrow's tail is, if we imagine there's some power, right, it's coming to my center this way, and I'm facing this direction, but this power is coming in. This coil is, if I can get a hold of it here and control it, I want to control so I can turn it to press on it, right? So imagine if this is somebody's arm and you can turn it this way and then press, it would be very painful. right? So if they're reaching in here, if somebody's reaching to my center, I want to control that wrist, expose the elbow this way, and then press on it here. So this is where we don't need to use a lot of power. Even if it's a stick like this, right? If it's attached at that end, and I twist it this way and press here in the middle, I can break it. So imagine how much pressure we need to. This is what we're doing. The objective in this one is the most extreme, the most yang, is to dislocate the elbow, and that only takes a few pounds of pressure. So the jump is not to get power to smash down on it. It's because we don't even need it. We only need a few pounds of pressure. The jump is if we need to reach something to bring it back to our center, right? Do you remember one of the basic Tai Chi ideas is keeping things in this center, this triangular shape. So if you let your elbows touch your sides, and if you're cutting, working on the computer, fixing something, tearing phone books, right? This is where the power is. So the same thing with the Tai Chi form. If big punches out here, it's for show. Technically, we shouldn't reach outside of if our square is here, the punch doesn't need to go any further than that. So the same thing, this reach, this turn, press, this is to if this power is up here, and I need to catch and secure the elbow so it can't bonk me from here, and I bring it to where my center is pressed this way, and then I can move forward, let go of that, and move into the next thing. Right. By the way, we may change either Wednesday night or Sunday night into stick class. I know that probably some people will not enjoy that, but I am actually authorized to teach this stick form, and I would like to teach it. It's something I have won gold medals at, and I think we should practice if you're interested to do that. So we'll figure out what's going to happen in the future. Anyway, let's continue. So if I'm facing this way, and we'll make my corners go this way so that you can see the movement again. From the fourth corner, I turn, open, scoop, press, and then for the next one, left grasp the sparrow's tail, just turning the wrist. I'm catching something, right? Like you have a fancy catch, and then stepping forward, pressing down. This one, you could bring this to the center. I think of it as passing by the side, and then when we step forward, pressing directly to the center. So then, after we have the basic 8 movements, split, hook, this is a side loop, right? So after those, we don't have a ward off or rollback on that one. That rollback, you can think of that, the thing that we're doing is sort of like a rollback. That's the place where it appears right before the press. So, but instead of having a switch foot, we have dibouhua, fold knees, change foot, roll back this way. After the fourth corner, we have grasp the sparrow's tail. This hand, instead of leading something in, is pressing. It's the same movement as roll back. There's an extra coil here, roll back, press, push, look left, glance right. Make sense? You feel there should be a similarity of movements. The feeling should be about the same. Yes, question, thoughts, answered, right? All right, good. So another example that I like to use when teaching this one is imagine the same thing. If somebody's reaching, does anyone here know what a workhorse is? Like on a construction site or something where they want to set a piece of wood or chop something in the middle, they use a bench. And so when we do this particular grasp the sparrow's tail, this is here, and the other end is attached. So we assume that there's a space between where it's bolted and where we're holding onto it. When we press in the middle, the object is to create a stress on the opponent in that way. That's the martial art application of it. So let's do the third section up to that point, right? If we start in the center and we start from Tai Chi Harmony, so bring your hands together, relax your tailbone, grip your toes. We're going to open shoulder width wide. And we can go into this Tai Chi Chi Chi, and then directly to return tiger to mountain. Right hand, left hand, scoop, bring the right foot, the left foot, step square, palm press directly to the south and the center. Breathe deep, roll back. Adjust your feet accurately. Make your legs powerful in the correct way. Push. Keep your neck straight to look left and glance right. Double press. Horizontal. Split. Hook. We're in the third section. So facing east, staying parallel to the east, is wild horse parts its mane. Control your structure. Don't let your hips push out. Staying parallel along the grid. After the last one, breathe deep, roll back. Turn your feet. Join the palms. The circle that we talked about during the Qigong is present all the time. Look left, glance right, double press. Horizontal split hands. So take the circle and turn it. Hook. This is side whip. And this is four corners. First corner, northwest. Look before you leap. Step back. Open. Pressing. Northwest. Close. Breathe deep. Step forward. Third corner, looking, step back, open, press, left grasp the sparrow's tail, right press. Chi, on. Look left, glance right, double press, horizontal. Split, hook. This is a corner of turning the square. Snake creeping down, one. Jinchi Doli. Right, so we were supposed to go right after the other one, right? Fairly simple. It's like a rollback. It's in the place where a rollback would be starting the eight basic postures. Coil, press, step forward. Speaking of which, four corners. Everyone have a good idea about four corners? Should we spend a little bit more time on that? If we start in the center, and I'll start just a little bit because after we have hook and whip, this is parallel, my feet parallel this way. And power is coming from the corner here. So from this posture, my center is doing all the movement. So if I do this kind of keeping this round shape, my right hand scoops, and then my left hand scoops underneath this way. So I'm holding this shape, and then I'm going to turn my palms. One thing that we can think about for this one is how many here have ever played darts? Right, where you throw a little metal arrow at a wall, right? This is, so if you take your hands, one of the things with darts, just like a frisbee, is they say it's in the wrist. So with this one, imagine you have a dart and you're holding it with the point going up. And then you're going to take it and sort of point it towards yourself and then away, this way. So, like a loop. So you have these, you're going to throw something, and you hold them up, and then you turn them in, and you throw them this way. So another analogy is like a whirlpool or a turbine, like a turbo, that has this loop that ends up flushing out in the direction that it's going. But my teacher would say, like you want to throw a dart, you lift it up, and then to get the maximum power, instead of just doing this, right? It's fine, but it's a straight line, right? So if you want to do less movement, right, is you can throw the thing this way. So in this case, we're lifting something up and then going under to press. It's pretty difficult for someone else to hold on to that because we make like a tumultuous turning with this. Remember, in Tai Chi, another Tai Chi principle is what's called Chan Si, which means this rotating from the tip of the middle finger through the forearm this way. So Chan Si Jing is this power of turning that forearm. And then in addition to that, we have power. So if we're blocking something with one hand, this other one can be striking, it can be pushing. Let's look at it on the bag. By the way, this new camera configuration hopefully should make things working with the bag a little easier. So the idea is if I have an opponent, right, I can, whatever they have here, I can get that out of the way, and then while I'm getting it out of the way this way, I can roll under it and press, right? So the idea is if they have weapons, if they have their arms, this is covering my gate to get underneath their defenses. And then this rolling, I can use this to support, just like we had said earlier. When you're pushing the moon into the sky, imagine like an inflatable thing. There's a feeling, if we have the breathing correct, where we can hold off a whole bunch of weight without a lot of effort, right? Just by keeping the shape, without even flexing, just by staying round, right? It's the egg shape, or the aqueduct shape, the arch is a naturally powerful shape. So this hand is pressing, is supporting, and this other hand underneath can do whatever it likes to do. So in this case, if we lift, both hands can press, or if we lift, one hand can lift and the other hand can press. It depends on what the situation calls for. But the idea is this turning, like a squiggly or a Q, or you can think of the Tai Chi symbol. So to the first corner, when we have hook and whip, scoop, scoop, both hands, both feet forward, and then turn the palms in, down, and out. And if you like to have something very accurate, you can make one horizontal and the other one vertical, right, to give you some sense of Tai Chi. So if I'm going to end the corner this way, let's say due north is facing this way, and I have hook and whip. Wait, sorry. I want to go to that corner, right? So here's my north. When I turn here, and then watch this. Right, so you can put one, but they don't have to be. You can make this more narrow. You can make it larger frame if you like to feel like you're stretching, getting a workout. Or, because in real life the martial arts situation is usually a lot smaller, it's a smaller movement, right? So if you have the idea in mind, you can do something, smaller movement this way, like throwing the darts. So in each corner, the same. Scoop, scoop, and then when the palm's coming up, keep the momentum turning to roll through and press. And now on the other side, this opening, I'm going to turn one foot, step the other foot towards the corner that I'm going, and use my arm to open and coil, right? And so that coil is either a block, a distraction, or we're hooking the opponent's weapon or arm. And once I get under it, the same thing, my hand and foot going towards the corner, this hand coming in just like the first one, and then guess what? We roll and press this way. So let's go from the beginning, because these are the only two movements, then they repeat twice, right, for the other two. So if we have hook and whip, breathe deep, scoop, scoop, step, turn. Looking first, turn the foot, step back, open, like both hands scooping underneath, and then once it's there, turning the palms, forearms, and press to the corner. So from here, hook, side whip or parallel, east, west, this way, that way, breathing to the corner, Turn the waist. There's power here. This is very powerful. And then combined with the palms, the waist turn with the palms this way. And then looking. Close the foot. Step back. Open. Get underneath it. And then turn to press. And so what's the next one? To get to the next corner is this. I'm bringing everything together. This one, by the way, I think of like let's do it facing in different directions so that you can see. If I'm here, this one, like I'm closing everything this way and then reopening. So think of it, if you've ever seen, let's see, turn, like somebody pitching a baseball. This scoop, press, going to the corner. So from this one, the same thing we talked about last time, the free-floating energy. Once this is here, these arms can actually go down, and the power is going to come right back up to get into this same shape. By the way, if you practice the Bhagwa, there's a posture, the first part of the first section, when you open, looks like this, leaning against horse, right? It's a very powerful posture, looks like this. We can find that shape in the Tai Chi from the hook and whip. This first one, we have leaning against horse, and then from the center, turn to press, open, step back. Leaning against horse, or some variation thereof. But in Tai Chi, we're more palm. It's more expanded. Press. Scoop. Press. Turn. Press. Catch. Step. Press. Do east. East, west. Go ahead, one more time, please.
It sounds right that on that first corner, it's kind of a 1-2 press, but it feels like on the other corners, it's more of a joint movement where the hands are...
Yeah, so the 1-2 should always just be a 1. But in the beginning, like we teach things as like connect the dots, like 1, 2, 3, 4. But technically, it's just one line. So in the beginning, we have to learn, because we don't know what the spiral looks like. So, yeah, technically, once we shift and scoop, that whole coil, even with the step, the weight change of the dantian, the turning of the waist, that's all one movement. But in the beginning, so that we can see what that coil looks like, we break it into parts, right? We're sort of breaking it. Yes, it should be smooth, right? So, Tika, that's correct when you're doing it just all as one thing, because that's what keeps if the opponent is driving forward, we don't want to pop up and then turn, because once they feel popped up, they're going to change. So we want to. This is weird, kind of like the exercise we did here. We practiced turning the palms evenly and smoothly to place the moon into the sky. The same thing when it's going this way. We need to turn this smooth to get under the opponent's defenses to press through, right? So just like a wheel rolling through, it can only be one piece. If there's points on the wheel, clunk, 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 we may shake something off, right? As opposed to the smoother and more linear the flow can be, the better, right? Maybe there may be another scenario where once we get to here, we want to do a press because this person's side is open. But it can also be, this is at some point I have some animation for a Fa Jing workshop, basically the 8 powers of Tai Chi. We can do this, watch, like ward off, expand, right? Or I can use the same posture and do like a push, hands and feet. Center is moving, but hands and feet push, right? So that's palm and push. Or I can do it like G. So when I scoop, it's a shockwave power, G. Or I can do it splitting, scoop here. I pull their arm one way and push their waist another way, force them to fall down. That's like we have Leah, from Leah, so splitting power, right? Or I can do cow. So I send my whole body, so like shoulder bump when we do share fei, shoulder bump, right? I can use different types of powers for the same posture. This is true for all the Tai Chi postures as well. It's where it gets very confusing. The first 8 represent 8 types of power. Ward off is like a sphere expanding, right? And then, what's the next one? Roll back is like a balloon deflating. And then G, when we do press, this is just power coming from the center, right? The feet and shoulders aren't really required. We can do a G power when we're in the air, but we can't push, right? So if power is coming from my center, I can still punch. But if I go to push, right, let's say I want to push this thing right here. If my feet, right, so my feet have to be connected. Because if they're not, I just push myself away. So these are the types of powers. When we push, the power goes between the feet and the hands. It's this way. This is what determines the push. Whereas G, a lot of times in G, the feet are moving. So they don't have to be connected for that kind of stapler power. But pushing power, if you like to push a Buick and you don't have a good grip, you just slide, right? Palm is the feeling of the whole thing is expanding. So like a balloon, like a yoga ball, the whole shape dispels the opponent's structure. So after we do grasp the sparrow's tail, when we step in between their shape, just expanding this way, you can't stand up. So using this expansive power. Rollback is when they expand against us, we draw all their power inwards and down with gravity. We always use gravity for our benefit. We're late. We started late. We finished late. Questions? Thoughts, comments, ideas? Allow your feet to touch. Relax your shoulders, relax your hips. Bring your hands together in the center. Push the crown chakra up as far as you can while keeping the chin relaxed. Breathing deep. Move your mind into the dantian, into the navel. Take a long, deep breath. Internally, smile to yourself. Practice the most basic, natural smile. And then internally also take a second to give thanks. You can whisper it, you can sing it, you can shout it. Another long, last deep breath. And that's it. Call, email, write with questions. Thank you.
Thank you.